Hey there, treasure hunters. Did you know that you might be carrying a jackpot in your pocket without even knowing it? That's right. Today, we're talking about a humble little coin that could change your life forever, the 1964 no-mint mark Jefferson nickel. And get this, one of these recently sold for a jaw-dropping $2.6 million. Yup, million. So, grab your coin jars, and let's dive into what makes this nickel so valuable and how you might just have one sitting in your couch cushions. First things first, let's talk about what makes the 1964 no-mint mark Jefferson nickel so special. Back in 1964, the U.S. Mint was cranking out coins like there was no tomorrow. To meet demand, they produced billions, yes, billions, of nickels that year. But here's the kicker, not all of them were created equal. Some coins were struck without a mint mark, meaning they were produced at the Philadelphia Mint. While this was pretty common, what's rare is finding one in pristine condition with certain die errors or unique characteristics. Now, you're probably wondering, what's so unique about this $2.6 million nickel? Well, the coin in question wasn't just your average no-mint mark nickel. It was a proof coin, a special type of coin with a mirror-like finish, typically made for collectors. Somehow, this proof nickel ended up in circulation. It's like finding a Rolex at a garage sale for $5. Experts believe it's one of a kind, and that's why it fetched such a crazy price at auction. Let me share a quick story. A few years ago, I was sorting through a jar of loose change my grandma had been saving since the Stone Age. Among the pennies, dimes, and Canadian quarters, why are there always so many of those? I spotted a 1964 nickel. My heart skipped a beat, thinking I might have hit the jackpot. Turns out, it wasn't the rare proof version, but it was still worth more than face value. That moment taught me an important lesson: every coin has a story, and you never know what treasures might be hiding in plain sight. So, how can you tell if you have a valuable 1964 no-mint mark nickel? Here's the rundown: look for that no-mint mark. If it's not there, you're off to a good start. Check the condition. The closer it is to mint state, the more it's worth. Look for proof-like qualities, a shiny, mirror-like surface and sharp details. Consider getting it graded by a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll tell you exactly what your coin is worth and certify its authenticity. And even if your nickel isn't worth millions, don't despair. A regular 1964 no-mint mark Jefferson nickel in great condition can still fetch you a pretty penny, or nickel, in this case. Some of these coins go for $20, $50, or even $100. It's not a mansion in Beverly Hills, but hey, it's better than 5 cents, right? Alright, folks, now it's your turn to play treasure hunter. Go through your change jars, your piggy banks, or even that cup holder in your car. You never know what you might find. And who knows? Maybe you'll be the next lucky person to discover a multi-million-dollar coin. You're digging through some loose change, and out pops a nickel that's not just 5 cents, but a whopping $2.5 million. Sounds like a fairy tale, right? Well, buckle up, because today we're diving into the fascinating story of the 1978 no-mint mark Jefferson nickel. Yep, it's real, it's rare, and it could be lurking in your pocket right now. Let's talk about why this little coin is worth more than most of our cars. First off, what's the deal with the no-mint mark thing? Usually, coins have a tiny letter on them to indicate where they were minted: P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, and S for San Francisco. But in 1978, some nickels escaped the mint without that identifying mark. These are the ones we're after. Now, you might be wondering, how does something like this even happen? Well, think of it like forgetting to sign your name on an important document. A small oversight at the mint turned these otherwise ordinary nickels into mega money makers for collectors. So, why the $2.5 million price tag? It's all about rarity and condition. Only a handful of these nickels exist, and the ones that are still in pristine condition, what coin geeks call MS-68 or Mint State 68, are the true gems. Picture a nickel so shiny it could blind you on a sunny day. That's the level we're talking about here. But here's the kicker: not every 1978 nickel without a mint mark is worth millions. Sorry to burst your bubble. If it's scratched, worn out, or looking like it went through a garbage disposal, it's probably not going to fund your dream vacation. Condition matters, folks. Let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was helping my uncle sort through his change jar. We weren't expecting much, maybe a few quarters for the laundromat, but then, there it was, a 1978 nickel with no mint mark. My uncle didn't believe it was worth anything, but I convinced him to get it checked out. Spoiler alert, it wasn't the jackpot coin, but it did sell for $500. Not bad for a nickel, right? Now, I know you're itching to check your change, but hold up, there's more. If you do find a potential 1978 no mint mark nickel, here's what you need to do: get it authenticated. A professional grading service like PCGS or NGC can verify if it's the real deal. Check the condition. The closer it is to mint state, the higher its value. If you hit the jackpot, consult a coin dealer or auction house to get the best price. So there you have it, the story of how a simple nickel turned into a millionaire's dream. If you're like me, you're probably eyeing every coin in your house right now. And hey, who knows? Maybe your next trip to the grocery store will uncover your $2.5 million payday. Millionaire. I'm talking about $2.3 million for one tiny, seemingly ordinary coin. Crazy, right? Well, buckle up, because today we're diving into the fascinating story of this incredibly valuable nickel and how it can transform loose change into serious cash. First things first, let's talk about what makes this particular coin so special. The 1990 Jefferson nickel with the D mint mark comes from the Denver Mint. Now, most 1990 D nickels aren't worth much more than 5 cents. But there's a rare variation that's literally worth its weight in gold, times about 100,000. Why? It all comes down to a freak error in the minting process. This coin has a unique die error, and experts believe only a handful of them exist. Basically, the mint messed up, creating a rare variety that collectors are going absolutely bonkers over. Imagine being the person who finds this nickel while cleaning out their car or digging through their couch cushions. That's like finding a $2.3 million golden ticket hiding in your snack crumbs. Now, you might be wondering, how do I know if I have one of these magic nickels? Great question. Here's what to look for: check the date, it must be from 1990. Simple enough, right? The mint mark, look for the tiny D under the date. This indicates it's from the Denver Mint. The error details: the real jackpot is the faint doubling effect on certain features, like the lettering or Jefferson's profile. This subtle flaw is what sets it apart from your run-of-the-mill nickels. If you think you've got one, don't just toss it back in the change jar. Instead, take it to a professional coin grader. They'll authenticate your find and potentially make your wallet very, very happy. Now, let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was helping my grandma clean out her basement. She's a bit of a hoarder, bless her heart, and we stumbled upon this rusty old tin box. Inside, a pile of coins so dusty you'd think they'd been hiding since the Great Depression. Among them was a shiny nickel that looked out of place. At first, I thought it might be one of these rare 1990 D nickels. My heart was racing as I Googled what to check for. Spoiler alert, it wasn't the $2.3 million jackpot. But it did turn out to be a collectible worth $50, which wasn't too shabby for a day's work. That's the thing about coin hunting, it's like a real-life treasure hunt. Sometimes you strike gold, and other times you end up with a quirky story and a few bucks. Either way, it's a win-win. So, what are you waiting for? Go raid your piggy banks, check under the car seats, and dig through your spare change. That 1990 D Jefferson nickel could be hiding in plain sight, just waiting to turn your 5 cents into a fortune. Finding a nickel in your pocket worth $2.1 million. Sounds like something out of a Hollywood movie, right? But today, we're talking about a real-life jackpot, the 1991 D mint mark Jefferson nickel. Yup, that little 5-cent coin could make you a millionaire. Stick around, and I'll tell you why this coin is so valuable, how to spot one, and what makes it a true diamond in the rough. Oh, and I'll also share a funny little story about the time I thought I struck gold, or, in this case, nickel. What's the deal with the 1991 Jefferson nickel? First, let's talk about the basics. The D stands for the Denver Mint, where this coin was produced. But not all 1991 nickels are worth millions. Most are worth, well, 5 cents. The one we're talking about today is an incredibly rare error coin, a minting mistake that turned an ordinary nickel into a treasure. Here's what makes it special. This particular 1991 nickel was struck on the wrong planchet, a piece of metal meant for another coin. The result? A nickel with unique features that no other coin has. Collectors go bananas for these kinds of errors, and they're willing to pay top dollar, or in this case, top millions, to get their hands on one. Now, let me take you back to a moment in my life. I was at a garage sale, casually sifting through a jar of old coins when I found a shiny nickel. My heart skipped a beat. Could this be it? Could I finally retire and buy that beach house? Spoiler alert, it wasn't. Turned out to be a regular nickel, but hey, it got me thinking, how many of us might actually have one of these valuable coins just sitting around in a piggy bank or junk drawer? So, how can you tell if your 1991 nickel is the real deal? First, check the date and the mint mark. The D should be on the right side of Thomas Jefferson's portrait. Next, look closely for any unusual features. If you're not sure, consider having it evaluated by a professional coin grader. These experts can authenticate your coin and determine its value, and let's talk about the current market value, $2.1 million. That's not just a nice house, that's a mansion, a dream vacation, and a few Teslas. The reason this coin fetched such a high price at auction is because of its rarity and condition. Coins like these are the unicorns of the numismatic world, and collectors will stop at nothing to add them to their collections. So, there you have it, the 1991 mint marked Jefferson nickel, a tiny piece of metal with a massive price tag. Who knew something so small could change your life in such a big way? Now, here's your mission: go check your pockets, your couch cushions, and that jar of coins collecting dust on your shelf. You never know, you might be sitting on a fortune. 2000 mint Jefferson nickel just sold for a jaw-dropping $2 million. Yep, you heard me right. $2 million. That's enough to buy a mansion, a yacht, and still have leftover cash for your favorite snack cravings. So, if you're the kind of person who casually tosses their nickels into a jar, stick around, because you might just be sitting on a goldmine without even knowing it. Let's dive into why this little coin is making such big waves. First off, the 2000 Jefferson nickel isn't your average pocket change. We're talking about a P mint, which means it was minted in Philadelphia. Now, before you rush to raid your coin stash, here's what makes this particular nickel so special. It's not just about the date and mint mark, it's the condition. We're talking about a coin in pristine condition, graded as MS 68. For those of you scratching your heads, MS stands for mint state, and 68 is basically saying, this coin looks like it was minted yesterday and wrapped in bubble wrap ever since. What's even crazier is the rarity factor. Coins like this are unicorns. Out of millions minted, only a handful survive in this near-perfect state. And here's the kicker, the $2 million coin isn't even gold or silver. It's just plain old nickel and copper. But its value comes from its scarcity and flawless condition. Think of it as the coin world's version of a mint-condition comic book or an unopened first edition video game. Collectors go bananas over that stuff. Now, let me tell you a little story. A few years ago, I was cleaning out an old drawer in my grandma's house. You know, one of those drawers that has everything from expired coupons to random keys nobody remembers the locks for. Anyway, I found a stash of coins and thought, why not look these up? Spoiler alert, none of them were worth $2 million, but one was valued at $50. Not bad for a few minutes of Googling, right? So, moral of the story? Never underestimate the power of a dusty old coin. Now, back to our $2 million nickel. If you're wondering how to know if you've got a winner, here's the lowdown. First, check the date and mint mark. It has to say 2000 with a little P on it. Second, look at the condition. If it's been through a parking meter or your dog's digestive system, sorry, it's not making the cut. Third, consider getting it professionally graded. Yes, it costs a bit, but hey, if your nickel turns out to be worth millions, it's a small price to pay. And if you're like, what's the deal with collectors paying so much? Think of it this way, some people collect art, others collect rare sneakers. Coin collectors. They're hunting for historical treasures. And when they find a gem like this, they're willing to shell out the big bucks. Alright, my friends, here's your mission. Go raid your piggy banks, check under the couch cushions, and definitely take a second look at that old jar of change sitting in your garage. Who knows? You might just stumble upon your own piece of $2 million history. And if you're as obsessed with coins as I am, hit that subscribe button. We're just getting started with tips and tricks to uncover hidden treasures in your everyday life. Until next time, keep flipping those coins and dreaming big.